Me and T-Roy. Back on the pod. You got to be one of the guests that have been on the show the most.
Really?
I mean, one of them.
I would feel honored if that was actually true.
Right? It's got to be
I think
4
so.
or 5 at this point.
I think we're good for like one a year.
Yeah, you're
minimum.
almost annual, right? And we've
Yeah.
been going for 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like I could. 7 years? Have you actually been going for 7 years?
7 years, I think.
Holy
so.
cow!
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
What was maybe like the vision or the idea in the beginning?
Originally, the idea was to create a platform where the fans could connect with the players on a deeper level. So one thing about seeing them on the court and like seeing their Instagrams, but then if you sit through an episode and you're like, wow, like I'm from the same town, or you connect with them in deeper levels, then the fan base is now like connected and has a deeper like, I guess, connection with the players, and then I think those fans become super fans, and like I think that's what we need in our sport. And I also felt like a lot of fans didn't know me as well, so in the same way I was like, well, the same is probably for all the players.
Yeah. Did this start?
It started
when you're coming back, or the moment you were kind of like? It started
when I got sick, and then I went into commentating, and I did some of those courses till I just learned on it, because I was like, I should probably learn what I'm doing if I'm on, on the broadcast. And then I was like, oh, I feel pretty comfortable on the broadcast.
You would do like, that was like 10, 12-hour days.
Yeah, I was grinding. That was like harder than playing in the tournaments.
That's when I wasn't playing in the tournaments. I was just watching, because it had to be. Was it 2018, 2017?
17, 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the first one I remember was, Huntington FIVB, when you were just in stadium and like there was like technical difficulties, and you would just like, they just leave you in there and you were just like.
I had no idea. Idea what I was doing. Yeah, that's crazy. My first one I think was New York. I think it was New York. And yeah, it was. And me and Josh, I was like, not begging him, but like, just like, hey, like, I want to do something. I want to stay relevant, like, get out there. You guys don't have anyone doing it. He's like, I'll split your flight with you. So we split the flight. I probably slept on the ground at someone's, whatever, I was just antsy to do something and stay a part of the sport. And then kind of worked. People kind of liked it. And then we just kind of rolled. And yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That's really cool.
But yeah, we just rolled it into this because Travis interviewed me once. And to be honest, I thought the journalism around the sport matched the level of the business behind our sport, right?
Yeah.
The entertainment value, it was pretty weak. And it was like, oh, we're on the beach and we have, sun-kissed skin and bikinis and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, that's not what we're looking for. And then Travis interviewed me once, and he was actually like really good at it. I was like, wow, you actually like got down to the stuff that I think you should be interviewing me about. And then I think I asked him to, let's try to do a podcast or something. And it was just like, just do it because why not? And then, here we are.
I think that's a cool, like, as you're saying that, that's like finding some way to still be in front, or not in front of the camera, but like in front of the fans, to be heard, to be seen, to offer help to the AVP.
Yeah.
That's something that I've been talking about, kind of like with this league stuff, and just kind of encourage some of these younger, and maybe without you knowing that you encouraged me to kind of step into that role as well, where it's okay. I didn't make the tournament. I'm just a qualifier person. Nobody knows who I am. Right. You were a little different. You were obviously extremely talented. You've won AVPs, and then kind of God dealt you some cards that you've been dealing with. But you just like, I thought you did a great job there, and I think that's maybe if any players out there listening, I'm not sure if we're going to use this part, but if we are,
right.
that the fact that you just stepped up and found a way to kind of stay there, and everybody, you weren't just forgotten about, because we've seen players do that.
Oh no,
they get injured,
the sport forgets you real quick.
And all of a sudden, it's like, we love you, and then all of a sudden, who are you?
Yeah.
But man, that would be like the biggest encouragement, I think, to any player that's aspiring. It's like, doesn't matter if you're known or if you're not known, but the more you can offer help and support to the AVP or to anything that you want to be a part of before asking for something, they're a lot more inclined to give you, like, he's a lot more inclined. I mean, he paid for half of your flight. You know, he didn't pay for your full flight. And then I feel like now, like today's generation, they're like, well, you're not going to pay me to do work? And it's like, why? Like, why would they? No one knows of you. And if you just offer that, then all of a sudden, you know, now you're getting, I'm sure you got your flights paid for after the first few tournaments.
Sure. And now it's like a legit gig that you know.
Yeah, now you have this whole crazy thing.
Yeah, right. Now
you have your whole now it's
AVP broadcasting is right. They didn't have Barnett and Rich and Cam and all them up there at that time.
Do you get like a royalty? Come on, you got to get like a royalty.
Yeah,
like there's the Tri clause and like
I get like a
1% of Kevin Barnett, Cam's salary.
Yeah, right. I agree. I think
where did that come from?
Entitlement is tough, you know. And well, I think it came from me wanting to learn more skills than I have, and I realized early on, especially I had a quick path to the top, I guess, for the when I came to the AVP, obviously with
how many qualifiers have you played in?
Yeah, like none. And then and I was with John right away, and so then I was a top player, and I realized like, oh wow, I better, like, I'm young, if I invest in learning the business behind it, invest in how do you be a great sponsored athlete? How do you be a great ambassador of the sport? How do you do all these things? Just learn it now while I'm young, so that when I'm older, I can take advantage of it. I'm not just sitting around twiddling my thumb like, hey, what do you have to offer me this year? You know?
Yeah.
And now here we are, years down the road, and I'm not really like, hey, World Tour, you're gonna do something great?
Mm-hmm.
Great. AVP, you're going to do something great? Great, I'll be a part of it. If not, I'm going to take my life into my own hands because I've gained these other skills and built these other things up. Hey, volleyball media, are you guys going to figure it out? Like, is there going to be any good journalism or podcasts? Or I don't care. I'll just do it myself. You know? And eventually, if you keep doing stuff like that and not feeling entitled to people giving you stuff, I feel like you just gain a lot of value. And then
people
like you
do
said,
give you stuff.
then it does come your way, But I think you've done a good job with it as well. Just like taking time to understand, like, okay, why is the AVP doing this, and how can I help it, add to it, versus just complaining and sitting back and saying, oh well, where's my opportunity? Where's my this? Where's that? Man, I got kicked out of the league so easily last year. They're like, I walked over after, it was like, wild cards. They're like, nope. I'm like, okay, see ya. See you later. Then, that was it. You know, it wasn't like, but I'm me. Like, come on, I've been I got SANDCAST. I'm the coach. I was just like, all right, sounds good. I got to figure out a way to make myself valuable for a year and then earn my way back in, which we should get into because the AVP is coming up and they made some announcements.
It's a pretty good segue. Yeah,
right?
We got the league is back. And it's different than it was last year. I think that's one of the biggest questions. Just talking about it, we went on those like volleyball vacations, and so you kind of meet like a bunch of it's like hundreds of different people that are also they're all volley nerds, just like you and I. And
a way that you guys, because for whatever reason, I haven't been able to go on them. I've been invited over the years, I just haven't been able to make it. But I'm always jealous because I feel like you guys gain so many real fans, like that you connect with. And then we go to events and it's like, what is this little group cheering for Troy right here? And they're like, oh, we were in Mexico with you. I was like, damn it.
It's almost like I describe it to people like a family reunion. Like you get to know so many people on a deeper level that they're not like fans, but they also know so much about the sport and they support it. And you can bounce ideas off of. So honestly, like analytics is really cool when you sit down with them and you're like,
whoa,
and they hit you with all these questions, and then you can kind of describe the or kind of like answer them if you know the answer, and if not, at least I try to get the answer for these people. So last year we piggybacked off of the Olympics, and that was a really big push to have the league in the fall.
And
everybody's like, how do you compete with football? Why do you compete? And that's like what we heard I mean, I'm sure you heard it too.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I was watching football.
Yeah. And it was just like, wait, the league's on? And it just it was tough. Yeah, it's not ideal, but it was, the way I described it was a good intro for all the volleyball fans. Like, it's like a college course, like Intro 101 or something like that. Yeah. But what is this league format?
I'm super grateful because AVP came in late. Like, the timing wasn't great to run the league last year. No. And clearly everything wasn't set in stone. Like, they were making it up as they went. They really did it might have been the smarter choice for them business-wise to wait till this year to run it. But at least, like, for our sake, and, like, I'm stoked that we got to see a proof of product. You guys got to get out there, and I got to go to events and be a part of it as well. Not playing, but they easily could have not run it last year, which would have really sucked for the athletes. So I'm stoked that they at least just ran something last year, right?
And I think the fans too. Like, obviously, I was telling people that it's almost like we had 2 years in one. We had and honestly, they kind of just checked the box for us. Like, and when I say us, I say like volleyball fans.
Yeah.
And we'll give you a regular season that you've known and loved for however many years. And now here's how you're going to be consuming AVP volleyball from here on out.
Yeah.
And so it really did feel like 2 years. But without that, I think it would have been a little bit more of a culture shock to a lot of players.
Yeah, for sure.
And fans, but especially players, to be like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And I think some fans that didn't really follow the league are still kind of asking those questions.
Yeah.
Like, how do you qualify for the league? Like, all this stuff, which I'm sure we'll dive into. But the league is what we'll be doing. And it's, I've just chosen to be all in. And it's kind of like a silly thing, but you either are in or you're out, because this is how it's going to be.
Yeah,
you were in that meeting in, was it Austin?
Yeah.
That Bobby came in and we were like just trying to. Yeah, that was a funny meeting, but it was true. I mean, it's just like, this is it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, to fans too, and I think there's more frustrated or like fans that aren't on board than there is ones that are sold on it yet, which I think is
justifiable.
Yeah, it's justifiable. Like, they haven't really seen our best product yet. But let's not pretend like there's another option here.
Yeah.
Like, this ownership didn't come in. These people have business backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
They're not volleyball people. They came in to do it a certain way, to do it differently, to not do the old system. So to keep complaining and be like, oh, what was wrong with the old ways?
Yeah.
That was not making money. That didn't work. It was.
And I think that's
worked.
what,
like, we all got by, and it was like whatever. But like, if we want something more, we got to take risks. There's going to be growing pains. Maybe last year was the growing pain. Maybe this year might be in there as well, because I know it's not going to be. From what I hear, it's not. This isn't the final product that we're going to get this year. These first 2 years are going to be the growing. We're going to build it out years, and then get to something else, which I don't know. I mean, there's ideas, but I don't know how much we're divulging into that. But
it's like the super rich guy that's going to lose millions and millions of dollars, and every year
I don't want to play for a charity, like.
And it's just like, oh, we love the tournaments, we love this. Why can't we go back? And even, I mean, having somebody like Josh Glazebrook be able to always kind of offer answers. He's proven to me that there is an answer for everything, and there is a method to the madness, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's just like that style of tournaments cannot and will not make money right now.
Right. But
this league, a lot of sports are going to it, especially sports that like fall into kind of, I would be comparable to, even skating went to a league, like surfing is going to sort of this like league format where you represent a city. And it's different and it's weird and it's strange, but the whole thing is if the AVP can start making money and profiting, then the players start making money, and then it becomes a professional sport, and then these players can start making a living.
There's going to be more on the line for the athletes. Better athletes are going to come in because there's more on the line. it's more engaging for fans because they want to see us play under pressure. They want to see us play for something, right?
Yeah.
Whereas before it's like, oh, what are these guys doing out there? Oh, they're playing for $1,000. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Versus he's playing for $100,000. All right, I'm gonna watch that. You know.
Yeah.
Like that's
part
of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Everybody turns on, you know, basketball gets to playoffs. Everybody's watching basketball.
Googling their contracts.
Yeah, the Super Bowl is coming up in next week, and then golf tournaments. It's like he just missed that putt. He's like, that was $250,000. He just missed that 3-footer. Like, are you kidding me? So those things we all pay attention when it gets to crunch time, and this format it's crunch time. It's
crunch time, and it's cutthroat,
Whew.
and you're gonna see the people who. Well, you know, if you're in, you're stoked. If you're out, you're not very stoked. And we're already seeing that with athletes. You know, certain athletes are all feeling differently about it. But I think
we're out, just so we're clear, like to everybody out there, Tri and I are out. It's like we are on the outside of the league. We all are trying.
Oh, we're outside of the league, yes.
Trying to qualify in. It's not like we got a cushioning.
We're in on trying to qualify.
Yeah, we're in on trying to qualify, but
it's not. I don't know. Not everyone's sold on it, I should say.
For sure.
Fan-wise, all the players. But if you really want this sport to go to something and like get to something really cool and awesome, and not just stay where it's at, we got to take some risks. And you know, people who aren't in the league are going to be biased, which you and I still have to qualify.
Yeah.
But I want it. You know, I'm like, man, if this is what the sport needs, I got to do it the hard way. Obviously, I'm confident that I can, but like, we just got to suck it up and do it. And if you end up on the outside, try to bring value in other ways.
Absolutely.
Obviously, get better. Obviously, you have World Tour. Actually, it would crush my soul, and I don't even want to say it, but if I was to not qualify and get into just be on the Contender Series, you'd have your own tour, right? And you could be the top team on that tour. And that would bring a lot of value to you. You're going to get a lot of face time for being the top team or top two teams on winning the Contenders Tour. You get your own tour. You don't have these top players coming in. And
do they all know that? They know that the league teams cannot compete in the Contender Series?
Yeah, so wait, should we break it down first?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack, but we're doing a great job. But for those of you who don't know, the Contender Series, so any league teams cannot compete in that. I think they're still talking if league individuals can split up, which that would be really cool for an up-and-coming. Say, like, you're on the outside, but say you wanted to play in Denver or Evan wanted to play in Denver. Maybe you could pick up a younger guy. Maybe you and,
an individual could go to and play in
They're discussing
Denver
it. Yeah, I think so. It's not...
that's interesting.
But you and Evan cannot play in Wapaka.
That's
if you make
something a Troy Field or a Taylor Crabb would do.
Yes, absolutely. For the right, no, I'm kidding.
For the right price,
no. But it is a cool thing where you could. It's great for those events because they could get.
I've always wanted to play Wapaka and Denver, actually.
Yeah, they can just get those caliber athletes, and then obviously anybody. I mean, you've known this. You've been playing the sport a long time. Like anybody who plays against you in one of those, it's just like. They try their hardest against you.
Yeah.
You'll watch them and be like, like this team, like, I feel pretty confident. Okay, I see this. And all of a sudden you're like, where was this last game? Like, who are these guys? These guys, because the talent is there. I mean, these cities and these local players, they are freaking good at volleyball.
And they're like, man, if I never do anything in volleyball.
But if I beat
Troy Field, I can at least say that.
Yeah. And they do. And they we played a great team in Denver, me and Ford Harmon. We actually played them twice, but Steven Roshitz and Peter Cannoli.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they played exceptionally. That's the scary combo, especially in kind of that like jumpy sand. But
totally.
Yeah, they flat out beat us, and then they played exceptional. And so you're going to get that. But that is exciting that if you're kind of on that outside looking in and you do miss out on the league, that to your point, you could be the contender team.
Yeah, and it's not like I don't think how many stops. Sorry, I should have this.
We should have it, but it's Palm Beach, Denver, Wapaka, and I feel like there's one more. Is there Huntington in there? Sorry, everybody.
Virginia Beach.
Oh, Virginia Beach.
Palm Beach. Wapaka. And what, Denver?
Yeah. And then other ones, too, if you're out there listening and wondering. Just those. There's Vancouver Open. I can't speak highly enough about that. That is one of the funnest tournaments you'll ever play in.
Yeah,
they run a great product there. And they would love to have some talented Americans and even players from around the world come in, because that's kind of one where the players who represent Canada and the aspiring Canadian national team players, they get a kick out of playing people that they see on a tour that, I know we talk about that the media isn't kind of where we would necessarily maybe want it to be, but it's a lot better than some domestic tours that are out there in the world. And so they see it's almost the leader in a lot of media stuff. So Vancouver Open is, I would put that on your calendar. I think it's sometime in July. Yeah. But and when Cam and I played, I think you split. It's
kind of like
10K.
A novelty event. I feel like.
Oh yeah, you got to go, and it's legit. It's like a legit tournament, and if they pay out the 10K US, you're pretty stoked, and you can definitely profit on that. And there's a bunch of volleyball nerds, and I say nerds because I'm one of them as well, but that would love to host you. So if you're out there trying to save as much money, they will put you up, and they'd love to take you to dinner and all that stuff. So that's one I always tell people about. Japan, there's a tour in Japan that plays, and they pay really well as well. Like, there's ways to make it work. Yeah. And then there's Norseka World Tour.
Also, just get back to work. I mean, you're probably, I'm assuming you're young if you're in not everyone, but the sport doesn't owe any of us anything, really.
No, and it's going to keep moving.
It's going to keep moving with or without me, you, anyone, really. April Ross just retired, and it's still moving forward, you know. But so the schedule is, there's the contenders that we just talked about, and that's for the athletes or the teams that didn't get into the league. But starting in April 12th, there's 2 qualifiers for the league. They're one-day qualification events.
Yeah.
One's April 12th, one's April 26th. If you win the first event, you're automatically into the league. You get yourself a berth.
And you will not be able to play the second one.
And you won't be able to play the second event. If you win the second event, same thing. You get your auto berth.
And all the teams that are already in the league cannot play those first 2. There is no prize money for those. But then all the teams can play the first Heritage. Is that correct?
Right. And then so the teams who are already in the league are the teams that finished top 4 or were in the championship last season, only if they stayed together. If their partnership broke up, they're back out.
Which there was 2.
Trev and Theo for the men. And then the women had an injury. So Sarah and Kelly, I believe, are not playing together this year. So that they'll be out.
Well, it depends on how severe that injury is to Sarah. Right. We do wish you a speedy recovery if you're listening, Sarah. And I'm so sorry.
We'll let you announce whatever that is.
Yeah.
But
so Trevor, you kind of already talked about it on the SANDCAST a little bit, but Trevor's with Philip, and I'll be playing with Theo Brunner.
Yeah,
so get a little.
There's
a drop. I teased it on my Instagram a little bit, but you didn't swipe all the way on my little photo dump. But yeah, playing a little defense with Theo. So Theo has to requalify with me, and then Trevor's got to requalify with Phil. But then Chase and Miles, Andy Miles, and Taylor are in the league. Mm-hmm. And the women's side will be Kylie DeBerg and Haley Harward, Gina and Tony, and then the whole Kelly and Sarah. I think Kelly will have to requalify, and I'm not sure if she's announced that, so I won't be the one to share that.
What's crazy is that Brandy and Mel are in the quali, Taryn and Kristen are in the quali,
and Megan Kraft and Therese Cannon, like the juggernauts. So there's 3 juggernauts, if you will. And there's plenty of other talented players out there, but we all know just as far as how they finished last year. I mean, Megan Therese balling.
Yeah.
And then you have our Olympic silver medalist. And then you have TKN.
Are your top American team.
Kind of leaves 2 on the outside, 2 spots.
And AVP does reserve the right to give wild cards.
True.
Which I would say they probably reserve for 2 of those teams, I would guess. Maybe.
Correct.
It's just a guess. I doubt they would give even any to the men, to be honest. But yeah, so then those are the 2 qualifying events, and then the Huntington Beach Open, normal volleyball. Everyone, fans, you get your one.
You get
your
it.
event.
Yay, we're back.
Everyone's gonna play in that event, but that will also count as the 3rd event towards qualification. It's best 2 out of 3.
Yeah, best 2 out of 3 like last year. So even if you don't win those first 2 in April,
or if you got injured or something on one,
correct,
they're going to add up your best 2 out of 3, and those teams will get into the league, and then the league will start in May 23rd.
Yeah, hit the ground running.
Yep.
And what the league will be, again, if you're still confused, the league will be throughout the summer. That's always been the AVP's plan. Last year was just to piggyback off the Olympics, to give you that intro into what the league is. Now we'll be, really, really divulging. They released merch, so now the fans, you guys can go out and represent your city. Yeah. We don't know. I'm not really sure on if the teams will re-represent their cities.
That's what I was wondering.
I hear it, but again, I could be wrong. And so it's in the interest of not being wrong, we'll say it's still up for discussion. But yeah, will Gina and Tony be able to represent San Diego Smash again? Will it Chase and Miles? I think it would go that way.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of San Diego, then you got your league champions coming back, and see if they can repeat. First repeat, that'd be pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was interesting. I actually wouldn't mind talking about that after we get into the schedule. So we have the league all summer, actually, through starting May 23rd, going through August, I guess 8th and 9th is the last league stop. Then we're going to have the Manhattan Beach Open. We're back. Our favorite event.
Regular volleyball. For all you purists out there.
Which is awesome, because that carries so much weight and entertainment value, and it means so much to the athletes. So huge that they kept that on board.
And I think I've said this, without knowing it, and I'll say it now, but it will be cool to see that, does San Diego Smash win the Manhattan Open? Do they tie in a little bit of that city? And is that pretty cool to see some of the fans, are we going to see league fans now at Manhattan Beach Open?
Well, you're also going to see because the men's team can carry the women's team in the league, and the women's team can carry the men's team, but if none of the San Diego Smash or whoever wins the league are even close to the finals in Manhattan, it kind of shows you wow, the league's different. It's really about team play. It's not about the individual best teams, which last year, San Diego was not a top team throughout the season. They really just got hot at the end and ended up winning it, which was interesting.
And those games will be played to 21.
Yes.
The qualifier will be played to 15.
Right.
The 2 in April. But the Heritage Series is just regular volleyball. Yeah. 3-set or best 2 out of 3. You guys know it.
And then after Manhattan, we'll have August 30th will be the league championships, which we're in LA this year or last year. They'll be in Chicago, which is one of our favorite normal event stops, heritage event stops. But now they're giving them the league championship, which could be exciting. I thought it was tough to run the league championships here in that big tennis stadium our first year, just because it just hadn't built the hype and momentum around it yet. But yeah, normal. That's the same weekend we always have it in Chicago, I believe, right?
Yeah.
August 30th. 31st.
Yeah, that's Labor Day. Is that correct?
Labor Day weekend.
Okay. I know, one thing that you hear, or at least I've heard, maybe I'm not sure if you had, I'm sure you have, but about some of these league stops is a Chicago would get 16 men's teams and 16 women's teams, and as you follow SANDCAST and you follow the AVP, you have favorite teams that you watch, and so now these league stops you only get 4 teams coming through, but that's how every other league forms. I mean, if you go to a Laker game, as much as I want to see Steph Curry play,
you got to watch the Lakers again.
Yeah, it's not like I got to wait till Golden State comes into town before I, or I got to take a trip up to San Fran. So it's going to be interesting, but I think that's the growing pains that we're all going to have to, deal with. It's like I would have loved to play in San Diego and do that, but for the league, and I didn't get those venues.
Right.
They're easy enough to drive down to.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the Florida ones is like I didn't go to any Florida ones.
I went to almost all the away ones, and I wasn't even playing. I was like,
yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys.
We're going to put you on a plane.
Oh, yeah.
So there's still, the growing pains are there, but again, it's just new. It's new.
It's new, and change is difficult by nature. It just is. And we've all wanted something bigger and better. And if you want something bigger and better, you got to take risks. You got to go out there and just do it. And we have an ownership that's willing to do it. It's not going to work out for everyone. It didn't work out for me last year at all. And I thought I'm still playing best ball in my career. So, just get on board and try to do your best to get with it. But
I think you and Evan will be a very dangerous team.
I hope.
Because you guys are both our reserve
We're
teams
very mad. We're
for the league, so there's an extra fire.
Shoulders
So
over here.
Let's hope that Theo and I are on the other side of the bracket from you guys in Huntington. We don't need that. The first one, second one we could see, but I think that's really cool that you guys can share that, and also hearing you talk about it and watching you at the league. We got to do a little training session.
Yeah.
I was on my deathbed when we trained, but that's besides the point.
I was so excited just to touch a ball. I hadn't done anything.
But just putting yourself in that position, like, okay, I'm here. Yeah. It sucks.
Right.
I could take this road where I just talk about how disappointed.
Right.
And talk all that, but I thought it was really cool and encouraging to see both you guys, and just wear it on the chin and just be saying it through your teeth. And I'm sure, the pillow talk between at home, it's a lot different. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it means we care. We really, really do care, and we're all freaking competitive.
Yeah.
So
it's real, that's for sure. Well, tell us more about the partnership. Like, how did this come about? Theo's. It's like you think he's on the way out, but the freaking guy just keeps. He just can get up so big. His block's amazing. He just pretends like it's just like half jumping, just hitting OT on everyone all day. Mm-hmm. How did it come about?
I think if you're in it, like if you were in the volleyball world, you were as shocked as maybe I was to find out that Theo picked me. It was like The Bachelor, honestly. I feel like it was like
Trevor and Theo broke up.
No. We knew that. We knew that might come.
Hey, bid to the league next year. No, we're good. We're not even going to consider it.
So it was funny to see. Maybe like funny is not a right word, but it was very interesting to see that how much power this one player had, and not like he abused it, but Theo I couldn't imagine his phone. I'm sure he probably had to get a new phone from how many texts he was getting.
He was like, he was a waterfall.
Yeah.
Because the trickle down was just very heavy.
And so I waited a while before I even kind of like would toss my hat into the ring. But I'd sent him a text and I said, I can't imagine the amount of text that you're getting right now. Hearing about what you're going to, who you're going to play with next year, all this other stuff. And people were trying to make decisions early, and I kind of just knew from experience and from playing that decisions don't really get made until like January. And there's also like not really a point to other than trying to snatch somebody off the market. You're like, I just want to make sure they don't.
It can go either way.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I thought sending a text and being patient with Theo might give me my best chance, and he might see that as a plus rather than like, oh, this guy's not serious. I just said, I know you have a lot to think about with your family, with your future, and with your health. So take as much time as you need. And I'm sure everybody that was asking me to play didn't like that I was being so calm and patient about it. Right. And I mean, the plan was to play with Tim Baumgren again and there was other talks of talking to Sean Cook.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it goes. It's dating, but there was going to be a trickle effect.
Right.
It was just really interesting to see it come from one person.
Well,
and so I almost want
people 10 down on the list, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing this year?" Like, "Well, I don't know. I gotta wait for this person."
Yeah,
I'm like, "Who are you waiting? Who is this guy waiting for? I gotta wait on that person." I was like, "Oh, jeez."
Yeah,
you got about 5 moves to happen before.
I kept telling people, I'm like, if we all wait for Theo to make his decision on who he's going to play with, we can all partner up that same day.
Right.
Like everybody, if we just wait. But there's people like who couldn't wait anymore,
right.
And I understand that. Like if you have family and you have all this other stuff and you want to do this, but I'm like, what if next week he makes a decision? What if tomorrow makes his decision, and you just decided to take that?
Theo had the decision.
Yeah, so he had the decision, and it was hard. I mean, I was weighing. I love Tim Baumgren. I love our team, TNT. Truly, he's like, that'll be something that I compare every partnership to. Mm-hmm. And I love that guy so much. He makes me the best player I feel like I play, and I will be, better for him or because of him. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Timmy, I love you. But just the opportunity, I feel like right now in my career as kind of like a little bit of a tweener, to switch to defense. And I feel
kind of
in a really
and a curse, right?
Yeah. You're like, okay, do I want to put myself into the biggest pool possible of all these guys that the talented, there's so many talented athletes that have played indoor, like just comparing myself to all these people, like they've played indoor, so they have countless reps digging with their platform.
Yeah.
And they have come out on the beach and they've had the practice. Like I haven't. I got to play defense with Chase Budinger, but I feel like that was just a bull in a china shop a little bit like that. Like I was just flying around and I didn't really know too much. And I was trying to be like the partner pleaser, like, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll run it like this. I'll run it like this. And I never really got to find my own identity. And so I was just, it's a little nerve wracking, but I feel like God's put me in a good spot right now. And I feel like I'm in a really healthy place mentally and physically, just prioritizing the right things, getting a good team around me, a good group of people to support me and all that stuff. And whether I played with Tim or Sean or Theo, I felt like I was going to be in a great spot. And so I was in Mexico and I kept checking in with Theo because, Tim needed a decision and it was all understandable, but I was like, I don't really want to be the hey.
Yeah.
So then I got the, hey, can you talk text? Ooh. And I'm like, oh no. I went negative. I was like, oh no, like he's going to go the other way. And it went my way, and I couldn't be more grateful, honestly. It was the biggest blessing. And we got out Thursday last week. That was our first little practice, and we went Friday. And then today we met with our coach, Mark Fishman. And nice. So we'll, just to have the support, I haven't really worked with a coach, and having somebody who's supportive and also Theo, he's such a brilliant mind, and there's a lot that I know that he can offer.
Two minds on that team with you.
Yeah,
there.
So I got some people. There. Yeah, there's a lot of info going to come my way, but I feel again like in a good place in kind of just my confidence on the court, where I don't have to just blindly trust the people that are trying to help me, and they're just like, hey, try this, hey, try that, and I'm just like, okay, it's like, okay, I'm going to try that, but also bounce it off of kind of what I know and what fits my game and what feels really good right now. So I'm really grateful that that's able to happen. I wish it would have happened when I was a little younger and a little bit more, a few more years ahead of me. Now, 31, it's a little different. But God's timing, I always thought like in, USA Volleyball, I kind of like looked at you in your 30s. It was like once you hit kind of 30, it's like, okay, they've matured a little bit. They've done this. They've done that. Now let's see how they can play. And I think that's been kind of historically what USA has done in the past. Like all the Olympians, like Casey and Jake, they made it to their Olympics. Kind of around that, a little bit older. But you were in Jake that running,
young and old.
Yeah. You were kind of in that situation. You played pro indoor, and then you came out, and then it was like I'm with John, and then you're battling, and you're one of the top teams in the FIB, all that stuff at that age. And Theo said he was playing his best ball at like 35, and he feels like he's playing great. So the longevity in this, but I think the mental, like between the ears. You got to take a little bit to finally find your identity there. And so I feel like I'm there. So I'm really excited for the season and see what we can do.
Heck yeah.
And, I'm sure I'll still block. I told Theo. Theo's I'm going to still send you up to the net.
He thinks he's a brilliant defender too. So he'll take every advantage. I'm doing the same. I'm like,
we had that with Kane, and Evans, got one of like the gnarliest verticals, and right now he's probably the strongest. This dude, I mean, his quads. Look, I'm like, dude, we got to get you some bigger shorts, or like you got to cut down. But he's so strong right now, and I think with you being able to help him a little bit on the blocking, it's going to be with your serve and that. So there's going to be some crazy physical teams.
Dude, I know. That's what I was thinking.
This league thing is going to be crazy.
Philly and Trev coming out.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting dynamic.
And Trevor's going down there. I think he's on a flight or something like that.
Train, So like he's making sure Phil trains.
Yeah. So he's going to get like a good fit. Like it's
good Phil, Mike. Who
this is going to be.
Will come. I mean, he was good last year.
Yeah, Phil's Phil.
And then you have the teams that are already in. Sanders is coming back from Indonesia. Taylor's coaching, so like,
who would have surprise? Yeah, Taylor's coaching at St. Mary's. If you didn't hear about that,
obviously Miles and Andy.
Miles is playing.
Yeah, Miles
he's
went back to
libero
college.
At UCLA. So we have like everybody outside the league is just like grinding.
Yeah.
Like we're all like just in the gym, just taking all this different stuff, and then every team that's in there. I mean, they are still working hard. Chase and Miles are working really hard. Andy's working really hard. But it's funny that you have some of these.
They're just sitting a little more pretty.
There's just some of these things where it's like, yeah, you're right. Like,
then the trickle down is, we don't know where Caldwell, Cook.
Yeah. I know those
Wilcox
decisions
is
are
now a part of that conversation. Timmy B. Who am I missing? Avery.
Yeah. Shoot. Avery.
There's some youngins too. There's some
Paul and
Tim. Wyzorek. Paul and Billy.
Tim Baumgren.
Billy Allen is Billy still players. Playing? Those.
I don't know. There's like other.
All in the air right now.
Yeah.
Timmy Brewster.
There's some really talented
Logan
athletes.
And Hagen. Yeah.
Logan and Hagen.
They'll probably stick together.
I think Logan and Hagen will.
But like some of those names that are going to be in the league, and most of them will be out.
Yeah.
So.
And only the top 16 can try to.
It's gonna be super gnarly.
Qualify.
Yeah.
They won't even take. There's not like a qualifier for the qualifier. It's just.
Yeah. No. Yeah. If you're in, you're in.
But
that's the tricky part.
Do you know if there will be a qualifier for the heritage?
Phil Dahlhauser that's like 21 years old.
Yeah.
He can't play.
No.
That's the tricky part about it. But.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah. That's the hardest part.
Right
I think about what's going on right now is there hasn't been a tour. At least I don't think, or a league that is in charge of the funnel system. And I've kind of talked about this with some other athletes. And if the analogy that I give is if I wanted to go play in the NBA, then the first question I get is like, did you play in college? If I wanted to go play in the MLB, did you play in college?
Yeah.
Now, my story would have never been told or written if that was the case when I first came out. Like if there's a Troy out there wanting to start in 2025, I don't know how that person achieves it.
Well,
with what's
about
instead.
That Contender Series, right? Is there qualifiers for those?
I believe there will.
That's what I'm saying. Like the top athletes aren't there. Yes, it's great to get experience and play against the top when you're young. Amazing. But there's also something to be said about winning as a habit. And if you're just getting destroyed by the top guys all the time and you just can't even scratch these later rounds, like there's great value that comes from being able to play on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And a lot of these teams that are going to be playing on Sunday and contenders would not be playing on Sundays if all the athletes were there. So just like, man, take advantage of that. Go play on Sundays.
And CBVA is a great little tour, and that's kind of how I started. I mean, it was like B, A, double A, open.
You're good enough, you're going to end up right where you belong. There's no automatic access to the top right now, but like you're going to, if you go dominate, you're 20 years old, you go dominate the Contender Series, we're going to see you.
Oh,
people
yeah.
will see
Travis, I was saying that like people in Tallahassee are talking about Theo and I playing together.
Oh, yeah,
and
exactly.
Theo was like, don't say anything to anybody. And he's like, Travis is like, well, if people are talking in Tallahassee, then I'm pretty sure everyone knows. And I'm like, you know what? I guess
I was like, it's
a small community. And if you're an aspiring player, we've seen you and how players have made it and been noticed too is if you live here in Hermosa. That's why I like living here.
Yeah, right.
Because, hey, Try, can you play or can you practice? And if you're I was one of those players that would ask you and be like, hey, can I train? And you'd be like, oh, no, not really. Like, oh, I'm set up for the week. I'm set up for the week. And then you become desperate. You're like, I don't have a team. You're like, yeah, Troy, I'll let you. And I'm just
who's
like,
that kid that was texting me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's
like,
just,
pretty good.
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, this guy. And then if you offer value to the practice.
That's how I got Hayden.
Really?
I texted Sean Scott. I was like, we're both from Hawaii, bro. Like, how do I get in,
Mm-hmm.
Just tried to play the Hawaii card. He's like, I'm retired. You can text my partner if you want. So then I texted Hayden. Granted, I did play in an event in New Jersey where Hayden was the 1 seed. Sean was hurt, so he played with Evie Matthews, and then we ended up upsetting him in the first round. So he knew who I was because I did that to him. But then Hayden's like, yeah, I mean, whatever, come out, get some reps if you want, kind of thing. And that's literally, it was like, he let me come another week, and eventually like, you want to play? I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, what? Oh, all right, I'll retire from indoor now. I'm in. So, like, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
You got to pay your dues.
You do. And I think that's kind of how we kind of started this, was that little bit of, we called it entitlement, but it's just giving back.
Yeah.
Like I literally shagged balls for Jake and Tay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't touch a ball.
Yeah.
I did not swing once.
Yeah.
I had a week straight of just picking up volleyballs, putting them down. And when I was playing like opens and thought I could,
maybe
go hit it against Jake.
Yeah.
Like, I could try this, but the delusion. But because I did that, I got seen here, and then Jeremy K. Spear was in Brazil, and so John Mayer needed somebody, and so because of that interaction, John Mayer and then Hayden and Doherty, I just went up, and it was just us three, and I was just supposed to swing high hands and just try to like my best, and then that gets happen, and then Doherty's hurt, can you practice with me, or hey, can you do this? And you're just like, absolutely, I'll drop anything for this opportunity. Yeah. And then it becomes, hey, I saw you play there, and do you want to play now? I thought maybe John Mayer would pick me up. I was so delusional. I was like, he's gonna dump K Spear, and I was like, I qualified once.
You gotta be delusional.
Yeah. There's always a little delusion, and then you think you can get rosy, and no, you can't. But the getting in practice and getting seen by these people and just taking balls to people's car, like, hey, can I help you break down? Like, hey, can I do this? It's like those things go. The more your name can get kind of in people's mouths, then
there's
you can
people
do
who have showed up at our practices where I'm like, okay, like I see you here. I see like if I have an opportunity to help you or whatever. Tim Brewster was like a 15-year-old kid when he working at Jose's practices, and Jose would throw him in, and we'd chirp at him and give him shit, and but like in a I guess big brother kind of way, just like this kid's trying. Like obviously it was like tough love sometimes, but we felt like that's what he needed at that time. And then he ended up like getting to the point where he would just shred us, and in most of the drills he's just such a machine.
Yeah.
His like ball control.
And then you're like, he's young, or we're working on something. You throw out all the excuses, and then
he qualifies for main draws. He starts taking out main teams. Like, oh crap! Like now he's a problem.
Yeah, but he's there, and his work ethic too.
Yeah, he's been
has led him to that. So it's pretty special.
Yeah, it's a tough time. Like, I get it. There's so much. I just looking at comments and stuff on Instagram, and I get it. Like, it's valid, but like a lot of us who want to see the sport go big to that place that we've never been able to experience, at least especially the AVP. That's our bread and butter. we want to take this risk and we want to do it with the AVP, and the last thing our sport needs is to be divided again. Someone come in, I'll come in and do a better job than the AVP, and now we have competing tours, or you see it with the indoor. Like, man, we finally have a tour that we're a thing that we're excited to watch, and it's like, I'm gonna come in and make a better one. Why don't you just go to them and be like, hey, how can I help? I have value to bring. Let's build this thing together. Let's just keep adding value versus like tearing down the other product or whatever. It's just like, that's been killing us for so long. Everyone wants a piece of the pie. Let's just all contribute to like this one pie. Just make one good pie.
Absolutely. And you just don't know, like, my life has always been like very serendipitous moments have led to like different things. I've said no to things, I've said yes to things, and whether it worked out or it didn't work out, I just like to think that was all for a reason. And I would hate, if I'm on the outside, say Theo and I don't make this league, I'm on the outside looking in, I'm going to still stay positive about it. I'm still going to try to have it grow for the next few years. Watch the investment, because we have an owner and we have a team around us that sees a lot and hears everything.
Yeah.
And
we know
you would hate to
Bobby.
be, we'd hate to be in a position that it's like, once it makes it, then you're like, oh, now I'm for it. Like, I couldn't be happier about the AVP now that I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, well, I remember a few years ago or last year when you were on Instagram, or you're on this, or I heard you like talking to people at this city, and it's true. I mean, the thing is, I think it's just to get those answers, and I think that's where people, and kind of like the history of it, right? They've seen the AVP, they've seen somebody come in, they've seen a new thing try to get added, and they view that nothing's changed, and so they're like, maybe their patience levels to an all-time low. And
my patience level is very
low. To like, I tell people, I'm like, I think you're completely justified. But there's this like analogy, this little like cartoon that maybe you've seen, or maybe you guys have seen, but it's like somebody digging and they get so close to the diamonds and then they turn around because they're all like just sad. And it's like, what if you just kept digging?
Right.
Like, what if we all worked together and we found a way that we could grow this sport, and that in 2 years we're making life-changing money for us, not like NBA but you never know. Like, maybe it could be that way, but if we all just really grew it and we came together. And so that's kind of how I've been. It's like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. If you don't know the answer, then don't talk about it. And we're all guilty of it. Like, I've been guilty of it, and I'm still am in everyday life and when it comes to volleyball.
Yeah. And as a fan, like, I mean, you look at sports talk shows, right? People just want to like say something for us to argue for or against, because we just want to argue and talk about it. Yeah, that's fine.
Everything is like, I would have made that catch, right? I would have done that. Like, we watch everything. Like, you're just like, oh man, if I was in the NFL, if I was 23 again,
wow, that outfielder caught a pop fly. He made $300 million this year. Great, I could have done that.
I know. We like to think that we can, but I will say with beach volleyball that there is a method to this madness, and I think the AVP, I want to say we, because I really feel like it's a we thing. Like, I think we're all together, like you and I and every player.
I hope so. I hope the AVP sees it like that. Like,
I think we are going to improve our communication with the players. I mean, I will. That's my commitment. I mean, it's really hard to kind of take on water. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to be the best player I can be. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to achieve these things on and off the court. But I think I don't ever want to forget where I came from, and like being one of the players in the trenches,
for sure,
and being that, and taking, my, different relationships with AVP. And if I have information, and that's something that T Krabs has taught me, like, he gets answers. And so he would be my person that I'd go to for questions. I kind of talked about this last time I was on here, but yeah, like, I want to help you guys. So if anybody's listening out there, I do want to help, like, fans. I posted on Instagram that I'm going to try to like make all these different series, not like a series, but just like make videos answering kind of questions about the league.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so hopefully that just like offers a little bit of help. But if I can use my resources, or if I can get into the door a little bit easier.
A lot of time answering comments.
Yeah. No, I know. It's gonna be. I posted that last week, and I haven't posted a follow-up video, so I owe you guys a video. But, yeah, it's. I would love to try my best, and if they get 1,000 emails, they get hundreds of emails, they even get 10 emails from different players. But if it's a simple one, a simple answer that I know, it's like, well, I'm single, I don't have any kids, I don't have all this stuff. It's like my commitment is in like a really like all-time low. So maybe I can help. So I would love to, and I try to let all the players. I'm like, reach out, like to me. Like I don't have. It's not like woe is me. Like I never want to be that. It's just, hey, like I have these different relationships, and I ask the questions. I've been asking questions. So it's like when you're in the classroom, and it's like we have to hear the same question 5 or 6 times. We've all been sitting in that classroom, and it's very frustrating to be sitting there, and it's very frustrating as the teacher. Like, hey, I just told this. So when they're typing emails, typing it again, like copy and paste. It's like, okay, maybe some of the people that have been a little bit ahead of me know the answer. Like maybe like a Tri, or maybe a Troy, or a Taylor. A lot of T's. Yeah. But maybe that we can do that. So that's kind of my promise to some of these players. But if we can be a community that works together, and and if that's one of those things where you're like, I don't support the league, I don't think it's a good decision, I don't like this, and you just want to see where it goes. You want to kind of just be like kind of neutral. You're not like for it, but just if you could not talk bad about it.
You don't have to like it or even think it's a good idea. But if collectively,
if you're changing your whole community,
where we're going, then might as well get on board.
Yeah, and we have a whole management and a whole team that hears everything we say, and if you can offer a solution, if you think something's better, they might have thought about it, and if they haven't thought about it, they will talk internally. But this is a business. It takes a lot to change. Would we like to add a zero to everyone's paycheck? Absolutely. Where's that money going to come from? Do you have a solution for that?
If the players are getting paid more, you're going to have a better product on the stream, and you're going to have a better product in so many different ways. So you'll know. Yeah. You'll know if it's happening. Make sure the screen's
as we make sure that our screen's going. Are we live? Maybe push the little shutter speed just a little bit. Are we recording? Maybe hit another record. Oh, memory card full.
We're good here on audio, though.
Okay. For now. You might not be able to see us anymore, but you'll be able to hear us.
We might. Yeah. You will be able to hear us. But we covered a lot of it.
I think, we miss you, Travis. I feel like you're the engine or you're the tracks that keeps us going here.
Yeah, exactly.
But I thought
we're just winging it over
some
here
really good
Trav.
segues. And I consume so much volleyball. I literally, from any small YouTube channel, any small Instagram account, I watch it, I see it, and I try to read it. And so any SANDCAST, I always go through the comments and just see like what's happening and
I appreciate it.
What's going on. And so I'm gonna continue to try to do that. But it is I think you asked me a question the last time I was on here where you said, where do you get that you feel like you have to help the volleyball community?
Right,
like we were talking about the right side, and then talking about doing these scrimmages to help the players get money. And again, my heart yearns for beach volleyball, and I want to help the players.
Yeah.
And I want to get everybody, because everyone's so talented, and you could have that Phil Dahlhauser that comes out. Mm-hmm. And if there isn't that potential to make money, you know what? I'm going to take my talents elsewhere. Right. While I'm still young and hungry, I'm going to go get a desk job, or I'm going to go play pro overseas. And what if you could hold out? What is that? So I know that we're going to try our best. I want to try my best. And so it's not going to be easy, but I think it's something that we can do. And so if you can be that, if you have information on it, like just try to like share it and talk about the league in a way, like you don't, even if you don't, just like speak truth about it. Mm-hmm. Versus coming up with all these like fabrication stories that I hear all the time. And I even had one where it's, why don't we do this? Like, why don't we do this? And it's like, okay, well, let's take Manhattan, for example. Like, how much do you think it costs to put on Manhattan Beach Open before prize money, before all this?
There's so many
like
one
$100,000,
answers.
$200,000.
Yeah.
I was like, keep going. 300, keep going. 400, keep going. And it's like, it's around like $700,000.
How much do you pay to get into the Manhattan Beach Open?
Yeah.
Like,
and then you're like, oh, $4.99 Peacock. And it's like, just don't go to Starbucks once and you've paid for your Peacock. Like, just don't talk bad about it. And we've all done it, but I'm realizing that like your voice can carry so much weight. And it's like, yeah, just pay for it. Don't go or cancel it. Mm-hmm. But don't complain that you have to pay for it. And it's like, yeah, do I wish that I could watch the Kings games? Yeah, but I don't have Spectrum.
Right.
Am I frustrated? Yeah, but I'm still a Kings fan. Like, I still got to find ways. Is it extremely frustrating? Yeah, but I'm not out there on the street corner being like, the Kings. Then it's like, that's just the way it goes. And so I think thinking more of the AVP as like a little bit like a startup. If we can get our, if we all work together, if we're all in the garage like Apple, and we're all, chugging along, and it's way easier said than done, and I get that from people. But how we started this, like you proved that I want to work, I want to give, and then I can receive. I want to work around. I want to be involved. Hey, the league sucked. I got a family to provide for. You have another kid. You had a kid on the way, kind of going. Yeah, and you have two children. You have children now, but it's like that's, whew. To be able to stay positive and still be in the stands and to do all that.
You're still not entitled to anything.
And you're like, man, I think I can be better. I think I could have beaten that team. And those thoughts happen in your brain while you're watching. You're like, I am better than these guys, and I'm sitting down here. Those thoughts happen. But to still be able to clap because you got eyes on you, I mean, it's tough. Sports are hard, man.
Yeah. Life's hard.
Life is pretty challenging.
It can be.
Yeah. But we got one life.
But it's awesome too.
Yeah.
And I think like what you were talking about is like that connection to the volleyball community probably is like the biggest thing for you. And like there's so much to being, I mean, I think about like when am I supposed to retire? When am I done with this? But like as I get back into the work, and I needed to take a break from it last year, maybe the losing the league or not getting in the league was a blessing in disguise, but like, frick, I love the process of being a professional athlete, and volleyball does provide that for me. Yeah, it's not the millions of dollars, but like, just don't watch ESPN and you won't have that comparison in your head all the time, I mean, I do make a good living. I mean, we have this house. But it's not going to be perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. We could get all that money and then something else could happen, to where we're complaining about that. And grass is always greener. So if you like volleyball, man, be a part of it. Be a part of the growth of it. And see what happens.
Try your best to support it. I mean, that's what I want to do. Like for SANDCAST, for companies like Out of System, for like volleyball media, for all these things that are they're investing and putting in time and money to try to grow this silly sport. I want to try to offer some. It's like, so if I like it on YouTube, like I'll just like watch. I won't even watch the thing. I'll just like go and like it, or like sometimes like I'll leave a comment because I know that can. All it took was 30 seconds out of my day, and it just can hopefully move the needle, and then just little things like that.
You don't have to move the needle far; just move it in the right direction, even if it's
Don't move it down.
Micro movement. Just move it in the right direction.
Exactly.
Don't move it backwards.
Don't move it backwards. Nudge it in the right direction.
I like that. Well said.
Well, we got a great season.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can make the league. Maybe. Hopefully I can come back on the pod when when you and I both have made the league.
And we're just millionaires.
Yeah, 3 years. Come on.
3 years.
3 years.
No, I was thinking we hit the lotto or something.
Oh, yeah.
Before that, but okay. Yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite number again? Yeah, let's go with her birthday. Yeah, that would be epic. There will be signs if we hit the lotto.
Yeah, exciting year. New partnership. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Thank you so much.
Lose to me if we draw each other.
Yeah,
that's gonna be gnarly.
Yeah, that's gonna
just people hitting high and hard.
Yeah, it's gonna be Evan's like untouchable and just high hands. So hopefully Theo can be a better blocker than I was. I don't think I blocked Evan maybe at all, but yeah, it's just going to be a lot of high yas.
That was part of the reason why I partnered with him. Kid's shorter than me is hitting over me right now.
Yeah.
No, it'll be exciting. A lot of exciting partnerships. So if you're not excited about the format, like you should be excited about the different partnerships and all that. And we're going to SANDCAST, we're kind of like upping the way we're going to document the season a bit. Little, the Born on the Beach series, we're going to try to upgrade that a little bit.
Cool.
Still trying to do our tour stuff. We got a little merch. We're rebranded a bit.
Yeah.
But we're investing back in, so I think it's going to be a good year to be a volleyball fan. Right side, how's that? I know Taylor's
Potential.
On.
Yeah, we got some.
Do you guys need to run it on here or just use?
Yeah. We never know what we want to do with that, but
did you guys build your studio on the Crabs property and then is that like knocked down or is it still there?
No, we still have our little studio. It's kind of like in one of those little like workshops that you find at like Home Depot. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So they're building Taylor's house. So we were kind of like not necessarily out of power, but we were out of internet. I had one long cable and they got cut.
Trevor's like, you guys can't use mine.
No. Yeah. So, but it got cut, and then it was just like we would have to run the cord, then we have to take it down, and then it was like super dusty, and so the whole place is kind of like filled with dust. So we're gonna need like a deep clean, and Taylor's house still isn't finished.
Yeah.
Poor Trevor's bathroom. I always talk to him like, man, it's
because
they built the whole house.
Because those boys are in charge of it.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, it just takes forever.
Yeah,
like,
I think
what they say it was gonna be
Taylor
like,
was.
They said it would be done months ago. I'm like, did you hold them to that? Because these guys will absolutely take on 5 jobs if you let them.
Yeah, they've been pretty good about it. But I think now the St. Mary's thing, Taylor can come back to his house being built, which is epic. Yeah. So cool. So a huge congrats, getting a home is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Especially in California. And then Trevor gets his bathroom, master bath.
His
and
bathroom.
Then the talk on how we can get the right side. But again, trying to move the needle in the right direction, trying to support the sport. Offering kind of that like fun little interaction, watching film, all that different stuff. So we want to be a supplement. We don't want to be anything that's, competing or hurting anything like that.
I want to come in the shed one of these days.
Yeah, well, I mean, I gotta deep clean that sucker. I was just there the other day, and so I might need the mold box. But yeah, we got that, and then my own little brand, trying to grow that, maybe get some own little merch for myself.
Working with Slunks again.
Yeah, Slunks this year, Wilson this year again. I hope you still got to send those emails.
Yeah, we're still
you guys remember?
Wilson.
You guys remember me?
Pride.
But Wilson's a great company, and I've gotten to know their golf people, and I was just texting one of the engineers. He makes all the golf clubs. And they just launched their products, and so it's getting a lot of cool traction. So it's fun to see Wilson, and then Caitlin Clark, of course. Wilson.
Awesome. A lot of sponsors have dipped in and out. Wilson's been just solid.
Wilson's been steady, so keep loving Wilson if you can. I know the whole Moulton thing with NCAA is wild, but if you're buying Wilson's, try as a code. I have a code. They both support us.
Which one do you want to make money?
Yeah. We'll do a poll. Yeah,
what's your
maybe
code?
that
What's
would
your
be
code?
Field-20. What's yours?
Oh, I have 2.
You got the end.
I got SANDCAST.
So there's 3.
No, but if you use SANDCAST, that means I gotta reinvest that into the show.
Okay.
If you use my code, I get it.
Yeah. Your son can have diapers.
SANDCAST VB, Tri VB.
Okay.
And then
Field-20.
Field-20.
So one of those 3 will get
Whoever
you a little discount. And
20% though, that's huge when you're buying these volleyballs.
Yeah. So just a lot of cool support. So hopefully I get some more throughout the year, and as they come, I'll try my best. But it's a year of doing. I've been running my mouth a lot, and so now it's a year of doing it. And so
that's why we make our own shows, so we can just run our mouth and no one can stop recording.
I see the comments. I see them. I'm so sorry. I'm trying my best, but we'll try to be better this year. So thank you again so much for having me.
Thanks for coming.
I'm excited. We'll see you on the sand. You and Evan need training.
Yeah, we will soon.
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
Let's do it.
Theo will be jumping full time, or max.
He's
not
just
full
easing
time.
into. He just hops. And he's somehow
and he's still
touching
so
like
high.
12 feet.
It's so impressive. It's crazy.
All right, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Shoots.